Hi, Sag. Y'all are irritated with everything. I just read a comment that said, who cares what season it is? Sag is their last every season. I was like, damn, y'all are irritable. I just did the Scorpio reading. I wasn't even that irritable. I was more like, But as soon as I got into the Sag energy, I looked at my phone. I was like, everybody's an idiot. Whoa. That's how you guys are feeling? 5 of Swords. Queen of Wands. The third different deck. Okay, there's 2 different decks for the Libra and the Scorpio reading. Both got the Judgment card. Here's the Judgment card again. When I tell you that Cancer season is about karma, it is. 5 of Swords, you were lied to, and in that you find your power and you speak your truth, and you got good things coming up. If you have not been lied to and you cannot relate to that, there is a deception or a theft that has yet to come to light. The first week of July, things will be shown to you, and you will want to speak this truth. Truths are going to come out. People are still lying to you. Even if you thought you found out everything, there's still more. But within it, you find your power. You're sitting in the middle of it. Queen of Wands, unbothered. Woo. Let's see. 7 of Wands, Page of Swords. A feeling of prevailing. Page of Swords, communication. Using your words to win the fight. Temperance card, if you are dealing with another Sagittarian, here they are. And here you are. Good stuff. So a little sharp, a little irritable, but it's really nothing. Some cups to leave behind. Perhaps giving up one sort of abundance for another. Shifting focus, if you will. You've had enough of something. You've had your fill of something. Emotionally, you've moved on from it. I don't know what it is about it. It's too syrupy, maybe. Too sweet. And then we go from the 9 of Cups to the 8 of Cups to the 6 of Cups and the 6 of Swords. Interesting. So bumping right, as you leave the old thing, bumping right into a new thing. You see? It's so necessary here to finish the cycle. Because a new cycle wants to begin really bad. Bottom of the deck. And the Knight of Pentacles under that. Earth sign. And the World card under that. We've got an Earth trine coming up later in July. And Sagittarius, it is pulling. It is pulling on everyone. We'll look at those in the extended. It's pulling on everyone. And it may pull you right out of something, especially if it's something that you thought was fated, something that you were sure was going to last. It's as if you can't stomach it anymore. It's too much. That's what comes across. It's too much. It's like you can see through it somehow. You're not feeling it. And there is a level of betrayal here, whether yours or theirs, that must be shown out now. Then the Knight of Swords, 10 of Pentacles. Sharp words exchanged, especially when it comes to home and family and marriage. And finance, as it pertains to those things. A very aggressive attitude taken there. 2 of Wands, 3 of Swords. Moving on from something. Something that takes a lot to walk away from. It's painful. Especially if it has to do with an earth sign. Wow. Now, in terms of money and career, I think you're past anything that would hold you to something just out of money and career. I don't think you care anymore. I think that you feel full up enough that now what's most important is the state of your heart. And whether the draw before was money or fame or whatever it was, you just don't care anymore. You don't want that person if they're not going to be who you thought they were. If they're going to be someone who has this whole other life going on, or in some way has been very deceptive to you, although they've been trying to make you feel in a lot of ways that it was you. Once you realize, once the person that's being accused of cheating all the time realizes that it's actually the other person who's accusing you all the time because they have that mindset, once you get that, then it's really hard to stay in that thing. And I feel like you find your power early in July and are able to live and say it how it needs to be said. And even if you don't want to say it how it needs to be said, the truth is going to come out. And when that reality comes out, whether you think it's going to be good for you or not, you will prevail. And you'll prevail because you'll be able to communicate properly. And what you're going to be communicating and what people are going to be communicating to you is that thing that you thought was so great or that you thought you really wanted, essentially you didn't really want it the way that you thought you did. And now you're having to really find your power and balance your heart and mind and get back to yourself. And I don't know if you can do that while being in this situation. This is not a fire energy. This is like a really indulgent water energy. It's not you guys, it's just not you. So although something can feel fated and it can feel like it was like always meant to be, and it has that, soulmate quality, you may have to leave that thing or may want to leave that thing behind. Or if the shoe's on the other foot, you may feel like left behind by someone who you sincerely thought was a soulmate. Irrespective of how we get to that separation, I'm just really happy to see these cards first, because it means that separation is coming from a place of power within you instead of you feeling like the world is doing it to you. Whether or not, however this information comes to you, of course it's going to be shocking. But the fact that you're able to take control of yourself really early and be like, wait a minute, where is my power in this situation? And where is your power in this situation? The Judgment card, being able to speak and say things as they are. Page of Swords, being able to speak from a place of power. Seven of Wands, where you can say it how it really is. Six of Cups, Six of Swords. Yes, connection is important. Yes, that faded connection is deeply, deeply important. But it's also important to retain a sense of independence and autonomy when it comes to the truth and when it comes to mental health and emotional stability. And if someone is really messing with you under the guise of being your soulmate and really messing with your peace of mind, which is what Sagittarians need more than anything else to be able to function properly, then we need to walk away from some stuff in the mind and in the heart. Okay? And when you decide to take these steps, it is very, very possible that this particular person could be an air sign, but at this point, this is anyone who's being really, really sharp with you because they don't like that you're getting yourself out of the toxic situation. They will communicate at first, and then their communication will get more aggressive. This is also the person that is lying, okay? And what they're being aggressive about and lying about is this fantasy world that they would like to pull you back into that is false. And if you venture back over there, you run the risk of getting really, really, really hurt. Not that you're not hurt already. And if some of you are like, wait a minute, I'm not hurt at all. Okay, so in that case, let's avoid getting hurt by realizing now that anyone who's putting you in a position where they're making you lose your balance, and whatever truths happen, like this is happenstance, whatever truth happens to come to you this month, see it for what it is. Don't try to repaint anybody's colors. Whenever you see what's really going on, take some steps back from those people. Communicate when you need to. But the Six of Swords and this Eight of Cups it's definitive. You need to walk away from certain things because the picture that's being painted for you is not true. And the more you venture down that road, the more hurt you're going to get. There is a strong sense of independence in this reading as well. That's why I'm so happy to see the Queen of Wands come up before the Temperance card. It's your fire that I've been looking for, right? It's that fire that I feel like for the past few months has really been, you've just been tending that flame like, come on, don't go out, don't go out. And now it's like, even though there's this Five of Swords, it's like, no. Sometimes I feel like Sagittarius needs to be, pushed a little so it can like react, It's that like horse like instinct, like that muscle reaction instinct. And it's good. It's good. And it will prompt you. It'll be the catalyst. You know, this Five of Swords moment will be the catalyst to get the ball rolling in terms of the truth, the Judgment card, Cancer season, karma, all of that, right? So regardless of what side of the wave you find yourself on, that karmic wave, things are going to pan out. Part of that is separating you from that which is just so unnecessary for you. As that separation happens, being really careful and buffering yourself against people's really harsh words is important. It's noise pollution, like that EDM song. It's noise pollution. I'm not knocking EDM, I'm just saying that particular song is really like, anyway. And you don't need it, and especially when it's about this thing that's kind of been held over your head, you know. This very traditional structure that you may not even really ascribe to. You may not really ascribe to this, but you are being held accountable to this standard, right? You are being measured up against this standard. You are being bribed, if you will, with the lure of this, the promise. You're being lured with the promise of this. There you go. Find the words. Find the words. It's dishonest. It's dishonest, and you know it. So, you know, you really don't need me to tell you. It's the first card out. You know. You already know. And the further we travel down that road in our minds, the more hurt awaits you. And I can see why you want to travel down that road. There is always the initial instinct to want to hold on to this particular figure. But I just don't know how much your heart is in it anymore, because I don't see it. Right? So it's like, well, what figure is this? Okay, well, Queen of Pentacles. Queen of Pentacles is somebody who is very much aware of her value, to the point in relation to the Three of Swords where they don't see your value. Does that make sense? Someone who is so keenly aware of their value and not at all ashamed to, you know, expound on it to you, but cannot see yours because they are so centered on their own. Leaving you feeling neglected, leaving you feeling left out, leaving you feeling deceived. You guys put on a pretty good front. To the untrained eye, wouldn't be able to tell until the Three of Swords came out that you were upset. It's like you leave, it's like a delayed onset. You leave and then you hurt. You don't hurt and then leave. You get the leaving done quick. Gone. Later, you know, when you've galloped miles away, maybe you'll like mosey around in a field somewhere and think about it a little, and then delayed onset pain. But by the time we get to August, this is all going to make a lot more sense. By the time we get to Leo season, it's going to make a lot more sense. But the season that we're in right now it's so tumultuous, and it brings up the most sensitive things. And it is for everybody. That's why the Judgment card keeps coming up, because it's like the calling out of the things that are most secret, but we don't want it. We don't want to hear it. We're scared. You know, we're terrified of it. It's like things, the details, the tea, spilling the tea that raises the dead, you know, like things coming out. But it's also cool to see that you can't see yet how beneficial that's going to be for you. So you are definitely on that roller coaster, and we've just gotten to the point on the roller coaster. We're about to dip back down right as Virgo season ends. We'll dip back down and go down that, you know, slope. And this is that. This is that feeling of like, you know, Cancer season, the sun comes up. We're about to hit Leo season, fixed fire. The sun just stands there. We stand there for a second before we start to dip. But in emotional form, in terms of your deepest connections, in terms of your secrets. It's all being pulled out of you like the gravity pulls the cart down. That's what's so fun about it, right? Feeling weightless. And there is a sense when you're in the ocean of being weightless. And you can use Cancer season that way. You can stand against these tides and really get pummeled by them. And all the realizations and all the information and all the happenstance, everything that's going to happen just coming out of nowhere. You can stand against it and get hit this way, that way, and the other. Or you can become weightless and you can float in it. Yeah, you'll feel the up and down, but you'll be in it, you know? So let's look at these cards. I'm going to turn the camera around to me so you can see them from my perspective. It's a beautiful spread, actually. Cathartic is the word that comes to mind. And you are such an intelligent sign. You will know as you go through this month and these different things are revealed to you, you'll know that it's for your best. But that doesn't make it any less painful because you still have a heart. Just because you're smart doesn't mean you don't feel. All right. So let's look at these cards. I'll be back in a second. All the links for the extendeds, Atlanta, Oakland, putting up Colorado and DC later. All of that will be below. Book pre-orders below. That'll be out in August, inshallah. We're rocking. We're rocking. Yeah, I'll see you in just a minute.
Hi, Sag. All right, so let's look at these cards. Now that you can see for yourself what's going on here, it should make it a little clearer what I mean about it being too syrupy and too overwhelmed. Either the situation was so painful and overwhelming that you had to leave. It's like they didn't give you a choice, but you're still the one who had to cut the string. It's a difficult position to be in, but you will find your power in it because you know what this is about. This Five of Swords is very personal, right? Only you know if this is what you were going through with someone or if this is what you were putting someone through. But it is the first card out for a reason because it's coloring everything this month. So if you have been deceived, you are taking it really hard. And of course, as you should, right? It's only normal. But when Sag takes things difficult, when Sag lets a difficult thing actually get to them, people have a tendency to react in a way that makes it worse. What do I mean? I mean that they don't have much experience with you being so hurt. And so a lot of people will keep demanding things from you without realizing that you're going through something, and you have such a strong face that you can put on that most of these people will never realize that you were indeed going through something very difficult. For a lot of you, this feels like leaving behind like your soulmate partner, right? There's an element here to the entire season of this is out of my hands. Right? So how does one pick that up from the spread? So first of all, you come into it with the knowledge of this little Tarot 101, okay? First of all, you come into it with the knowledge of what Sages are like. We know that already, right? Then when you take a look at how the events are unfolding, you can see how there are these outside surprise moments that are happening. This is a surprise moment. This is always like, this figure is always a maverick, always a surprise moment. This is an aggressively surprising moment. So there's these shocks throughout the month, right? And then there are reverberations from those shocks. And so this doesn't seem like something that a galloping horse is in control of. This isn't a straight line to something. This isn't clear messages where you're like, oh, okay, that's what I have to do. It's very zigzag, which is how Cancer season is, which is really annoying to horses, right? It's not your natural state. Sagittarians, the bow and arrow straight. Horses like to run straight. You know, like there's There is a rigidity to your mutability, Sag. And I think this month will exploit everyone's weaknesses, including yours. So the way that the weakness of yours that's being highlighted here is perhaps your inability to do the zigzag successfully. I feel like a lot of you by week 2 will be like, you know what? Forget all of it. I don't want the healing. I don't want the resolution. I don't even want to talk it through. I just want to get out and go straight in some direction. But the way these waves are, it's going to pull you back. It's going to pull you back into its drama until it's all the way done with you. Until you've addressed some very important situations that need to be addressed. Maybe it's time to actually just get out of what you're in and walk towards what you want. Maybe it's time to finally realize that this person is not where it's at, regardless of how much they humble themselves. And you skip over them and, have the world waiting. If it's about a Gemini who's already involved with an earth sign, let it go. Or a Gemini who's involved, who's in some way unable to let go of an earth sign, let it go, because on the other side of that, there is a lot waiting for you. Earth trines. Water trines. You are being penned in, right? First this triangle, then this triangle. It's all about keeping you enclosed when what you really want to do is get out. You really want to run. But there is no point trying to fight. Just slow down. This is not going to work. You're just going to end up, that weird video where you go down the steps and then you end up you're actually on the top of the steps and coming down again. It's a trick that they did on the internet. It's a hoax that's supposed to look like an MC Escher drawing, right? In that way, if you run, you're just going to come back around. Or like Neo I think it's in Matrix 2, where he runs down the platform of the train station, just ends up on the other side, coming back around. It also happens in Thor Ragnarok, where he's stuck on that battle Colosseum planet, and he's in there and he runs around and he comes back around. That's it. Yes, I know how annoying all of those examples were, but I'm doing it because you see how you're like, I'm leaving. What happened? No, I'm over this. No, I'm leaving. No, I'm coming back. No, it's going to be a lot of this. The retrogrades, everything. It's going to be a lot of this. And you are going to get a little dizzy, especially if you're already, in some pain. So you're like, okay, I got it. This is what's going to happen. What do I do? Well, if you know you're going to be running around in a circle, maybe the best thing to do is stop running and just chill. Feel the pain you need to feel, because that's why Cancer season has got you in the loop and not letting you out anyway, because it's going to make you go over the same point again and again until you realize what it is that's bothering you. Cancer season doesn't let you run. That's why that meme is so popular. What y'all Cancers fitting to do for your birthday? Cry? Because Cancers can't run from their problems like that. They have to face what's going on with them emotionally. They have no choice but to do it. And that's what the season brings out in all of us, regardless of our personal birth chart. It is the energy that's coloring everything. And so the energy coloring everything right now is face your wounds. And a Sagittarian is like, wounds? What wounds? See you later. We'll talk about the wounds later. I'm going to write something about it. I came up with some really interesting stuff. Bye. And Cancer season, we're going to bring you back around. No. Let's talk about your wounds. Okay, well, I got to go. So let me try leaving in this direction now. Let me try going this way. Oh, you know what? I have some logic behind it. I can give you a really good explanation. And Cancer season is going to bring you back around like, no. We're not done. We really need to talk about what's going on with you. And there's a lot of you guys who are like, I really don't want to talk about that. And you know what? Ask the Cancers in your life how much they hear that from people. How Cancers are always getting told by people to stay out of their business and stop asking them personal questions, and they don't want to talk about it. But it's a whole season now. Like that one annoying Cancer coworker that you have that just is in your business. Now the entire world is acting like that this month. So what are you going to do? Float. Get off the boat. Get off the boat. The boat's going to get turned over. Get off the boat. Float. Get in the water. Get in the water. Horses love to swim. You're good at it. Get in the water. Oh, but the water looks really unpleasant. Well, it's the ocean. It changes. It's not going to stay the same. It doesn't stay the same for more than a second. Don't worry. You will find your healing this month. As crazy and painful and irritating and circular and nonsensical as it may seem to you, there is a method to the Cancerian madness, and it's very obvious here. And the rewards are great. It's not like Cancer season leaves you with just like feeling all your pain and dragging you into the past and doing all this nonsense and then it's just like bye. No, it leaves you with concrete things. Because that's the thing about Cancers. They may be emotional. They may be all in their feelings. They may be nosy about your feelings. But at the end of the day, they're very principle based. They have these like absolute yeses and nos. And if you fulfill their emotional requirements, they are very generous. You understand? They're very generous. So the season itself will also, I mean, it's the summer. It's the beginning of the summer. Of course they're generous. The season itself will be generous to you, but it does require some salt water from you for its ocean first. And rightfully so. Rightfully so. You need to get rid of it and, you know, and it needs to be fed. It's not parasitic, it's symbiotic. We all need each other. Right? Good. So in the extended, we'll clarify here. We'll start up here. And we'll go through some of the back and forth and see where the points are, where we can kind of work ourselves out of this loop. And then we'll take a look at what happens later in the month and we'll do a new shuffle. Bottom of the deck, we have that consternation. We have that earth trine. Yeah. Cancer season, man. It's not games. There are no games being played. Cancers are so serious. There are no games being played. But we'll look at all that. I hope you like this new setup. I hope it makes it easier to make the transition into learning how to read for yourself. I think that's so cool. Yeah, and all the other stuff will be in the info box below. I love you guys. I will see you in August. Are we at August already? So damn. We'll see you in August.